I do think, to her defense, he's not trying. I don't care.
What evidence do you have that shows that?
Have you had a hard time fucking? Hey, my love. Thank you so much for joining us again. I'm your girl, Intisar Eleanor. This is my beautiful husband, Joseph, and we're talking all things Married at First Sight, Season 17, Episode 18. So I guess we can dig on in. I am still surprised that this season has 18 episodes to even have had gone through. I'm just like taken aback by that because absolutely nothing. So much has happened. And yet nothing has happened at all.
Yeah, like when I seen the thing that came up that said it was only a couple weeks to decision day, I was thinking,
how are we not over the way there?
Right.
But don't you feel like some people have already had their decision day? So like, what are we even getting excited about?
1,000%. I feel like that's part of the prolonging of the season, like having these people come back just to film so that we can keep adding episodes. Because if y'all would have did it strictly by the married couples on here, this would have been over weeks ago. Let's talk about Becca and Austin. They got into an argument at the Wolf place or whatever, where every day we were buying trinkets. And now they feel like their relationship is deteriorating. That's what happened. That is what happened. I feel like with Becca, she is just picking at wounds. It's almost like they can't get over one issue or one incident before she opens another wound and they have another one to address. It seems like immediately when they start talking about the situation that happened at the gift shop, it seems like immediately they both have two very different recollections of the event.
Yeah.
Which is not abnormal with couples. We go through it. Everybody goes through it. That's not my issue. My issue is with Becca. It seems like her recollection of the event is always a little far from his. And it's like she's staring through everything through tiered contacts. Like, it's hard to see when you're always crying. And I feel like it's just a little bit dramatized. Everything is a little inflated. It's like, he snatched it from me and stormed out the store. And then he's like, no, I just said I wanted to get this one instead of that one. And so I really don't know where to go with Becca because I feel like she's always weaponizing her tears.
Yes. And I think she's, listen, good dick is like good advice. It can go a long way. And she ain't getting no dick. And I think that her behavior is representative of that. I think that she is lacking closeness. And because she's lacking physical closeness, she's lacking emotional closeness. And now it's mentally affecting her. Because I think she's struggling between obviously liking this man and the fact that she can't process the closest that they are not sharing. The physical closest they are not sharing.
To me, it seems like she's lacking reassurance.
Yeah.
Like she needs him to constantly and consistently reassure his love for her. And that's the weird part about it.
Exactly. And I think I'm just like kind of bored. It comes off Karen-esque. Like she's weaponizing her tears. And in truth, I think the whole conversation with the experts was kind of tattletale-y. Like, well, he this is what he says. Like, he doesn't do anything. You already gave him something to do and he won't do it. It felt
like everything they said she had a rebuttal to. Like there was never going to be a chance to find a resolution. Because if she says, I feel like you know, I would like you to touch me more. And he says, you know what? I agree with you. I think we can do more touching. I want to get better at that. She's like, well, we already talked about getting better at that 2 weeks ago and you didn't do it then. So it doesn't matter what he like. It's like she'll pull the rope and he'll go closer to her. And then
but
she'll
I
pull
do
it back
think,
some more.
To her defense, he's not trying. I don't care.
What evidence do you have that shows that?
Have you had a hard time fucking bitches? I mean, like, the truth of the matter is, it's not hard. Or we have to stop talking about it like what she's asking for is so unbelievably far-fetched. She needs physical intimacy. And she said exactly how she's needed it. And he has made up every excuse in the book. Oh, I'm going to go sleep in somebody. You went and slept in another grown man's bed. You grown man woke yourself up out your sleep next to a woman with size F breasts to go walk up through the hallway and sleep in another man's bed.
He's done a lot of weird things, obviously, throughout this whole season. What I'm saying is, I think that in order to say he's not trying, I think that intimacy. We talked about this before. I think that intimacy is more than just sex. And I think that their problem is they lack intimacy, period. And then they're trying to negate all of their intimacy issues with let's have sex.
I think that she's trying to have some morsel of intimacy with him. And that's why she's proposing sex. I think the truth is they don't have deep conversations. She said that.
That's what I mean. To me, deep conversation is a form of intimacy.
And it is.
Like they are not doing the things... They're not successful at doing the things that lead to intimacy. And for me, from what I've seen, I don't think that neither one of them is trying. I think that she inflates everything and she really needs a lot of reassurance because she's supremely insecure. I think that he's not really attracted to her. And so his trying looks different than her trying because of that difference in attraction. But I think that he could be just like Cameron and Brennan before Emily got her head split open. And we saw every chance they had to leave and get a crack in the door, they would stick their foot through it. So I think that if he was not trying, he would just leave like the rest of them, like they were on their way out to doing. I don't believe that he's just an F-boy, like he just here just messing around with her. You know what I mean? I think
that's the
he
implication.
Is trying to be a part of, something that they're trying to build, whatever that is, I
don't think that's the implication at all. And I agree. I just think a step further is that, physical intimacy is important. And we can't. And sometimes when you like someone, and sometimes other people feel like that's a way that they feel love. Like me and you have had this conversation a million times. Like, I'm not like I'm a physical, I can touch you, but I'm not a sex person. Like, I'm not like, I can swing from chandeliers, but that's not my go-to. And I think I recognize sometimes, I know even personally for us, if I can go weeks without us having sex, but sometimes I can tell the energy is more tense in a household if we're not having sex. Does that make sense?
Yes, and for me...
And I think she's tense.
And for me personally, for somebody who is a physical touch person, the thing that makes me tense isn't the lack of effing. It isn't the lack of pumping. It's the lack of intimacy, right? Because we've had times where we didn't have sexual intercourse for a while, but we were intimate and it didn't make me feel tense or make me feel like unwanted or or sexually frustrated, even though we weren't having intercourse during this period of time.
Yeah.
But we were on a good vibe. We was touchy. It might have just been one of those times where it was just a lot happening. Yeah. Life was just lifing. Like we wasn't at odds or nothing like that or nothing like that. We just we would get home and literally be exhausted, but be exhausted right. Like laying on each other and touching each other. That's what I mean. Like as a physical touch person, I could personally tell you that my barometer for whether or not my love language is getting met isn't how much we have in sexual intercourse. And I think that a lot of that is being left out, especially when so much spotlight is being put on, we got to hump tonight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like you said, it's a different situation. I've never been in a situation where I'm also trying to get physical with somebody who I don't think is attractive.
And I think that that's a piece that is an undercurrent in this. And I think that, you know, certain things can happen. And I think some parts of her personality he doesn't like either.
I agree. And I just
And I wouldn't, and you know what I mean?
I just think that we can't tell people we want them to be committed to this process and to try.
And not give them grace.
And then only be results based in the grace that we give, right? Because had he just said, you know what, I don't think she's cute, I'm out,
we would be upset about it.
They would be tearing him apart. You know what I'm saying? So I think that I am almost certain he's not physically attracted to her or sexually attracted to her. But I think he's here and he's falling on his feet because he's trying to still be a part of this process and build intimacy with a person who he does not find attractive.
You really think that's it?
Yes. I got that from him very early on too. Y'all can rewind the tape. Like, I just got the vibe that like he likes her as a person, likes being around her. I think he enjoys her company and things, but I don't think he's attracted to her at all.
Because I don't think she's a bad looking. I'm saying all that because I don't think she's a bad looking. But that's my perspective. Right. And I think, you know, if you got a good personality, but looks matter, you know what I mean?
But also,
like,
you are constantly emotionally regurgitating on somebody. She's always a basket case. I
think I'm gonna be honest. I think that yes, right. I think there's something.
That's very unsexy.
I think there's something to what you're saying, right? But the truth of the matter is, I think a part of her issue is that I don't think she's spoken about how. I think they've talked about physical intimacy and wanting to be intimate, but not how important it is to her in her relationships.
I would agree with that. Mm-hmm.
Because I think that for some people, it's more important than others.
Yeah, but I feel like she came into this from day one, really needing to be, tell me you love me, tell me you love me, tell me you love me.
Yeah, and I think they were so focused on being the couple that was better than everybody else that they really were never locked in to one another. They just wanted to make sure they were doing better than the rest of these mother jumpers, which to me says there's something in this process that's a bit flawed.
Yes.
Where people think and we see it on Love is Blind, where people find themselves measuring their relationships up against one another. I don't even know what that's about. It's funny because we live in the real world, right? Like, and I think about me and Joe, and I think about we are couple friends with a lot of people, and how it doesn't even cross my mind to rank.
No.
You know what I mean? No. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Like it's okay to gain perspective. Like, I think I personally gain perspective from other couples as of where we are on the spectrum of relationship.
Yes.
Right? Like, we could be doing life and kind of we could be in a rut or in a moment in time, and then we talk to some other couple and they are, I mean, literally not even speaking to each other for months at a time. And then you get the perspective of, it ain't that bad. Like, we, all right, you know what I mean? We arguing about toilet tissue or whatever, you know what I mean? Yeah. So sometimes you do get perspective, but it's never, at least for me, it's never a thing of like, well, I mean, out of us and them and them and them, we should be like at least 2 or 3, right? Like, we
right,
conversation,
like
you know
what?
I mean? But we have had the conversation like, it ain't that bad.
But also, that comes with the perspective of everybody is at a different place in their relationship. Mm-hmm. And you can't gauge that. Like, one of the things that I always tell my friends is that my relationship is mine. And I talk a lot about, you know, Cynthia, my girl, or like, I got some people who I talk a lot of shit to. And I do think that, but still, my relationship is mine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So as much, the reason why I can say that it's not this thing where you think about like you're judging yourself against other people's relationship is because I've been in a relationship long enough to know I'm only going to tell people what I want them to know any goddamn way, good, bad, or indifferent. And I think that they are too.
And you never know the real inner workings of anyone's relationship. Yeah. That's why I always hate it when we, as a social media culture, went through the whole, everybody who was famous was a couple's goals situation. You know what I mean? Everybody from the royal family to Jay-Z and Beyonce. Everybody was couple fame. Then we saw people arguing in an elevator, and we understood that people have real issues, whether they millionaires and billionaires or not. So I think that stop putting these people on pedestals and then chasing that, even in your own friend groups, like they do. They said at the speaking of the other show, just an example, what was it, Love is Blind? They sat down somewhere and was like, literally, one of them literally said, well, where do you think we rank amongst the other couples?
I couldn't even believe that fell out. I couldn't even. That's so odd to me.
It's so corny.
And you know what that is? And this is a tangent, but first off, if you haven't already, go check out our Love is Blind reviews. We got 2 up right now, and obviously we'll be doing the rest of the episodes once they drop. But I think it's so odd that that's even something that people do. And I think it's because it's the Lauren and Cameron effect. I think people want to be the best so bad because they're already counting the dollars on their target brand. What do they call it? Brand sponsorships. Yeah, they want all. I really think that's what it is. I think they want their numbers up.
The it people.
Yes, they want to be couples. #couples goals, and I think that's all it is. And I think that if that's who you all are looking to, you're brown the Drizzy for God.
How about that? Y'all have to reevaluate.
You got to reevaluate. So, talking about reevaluating, let's talk about Michael and Chloe. Here's my thing. I really don't like Chloe. And
I ain't gonna lie, I don't either.
I don't like her, and it's so glaringly obvious to me that she is not mentally prepared for this journey. I don't know why she even signed up for this. I don't know how she got past 2, 3, 4, 5 of the screenings, and it probably was because she was doing monologues, you know.
Oh yeah.
You know, like a fellow. I'm certain it was a commercial for her.
Like she does. We see her do it in the confessional.
I just don't. You know what it is? I always say, it's funny because me and my brother always talking about this. He always says like, that's negative. And I'm like, it's not negative. I'm pragmatic or whatever the case may be, right? And I think that she is negative. And I'm not even a person who calls other people negative because I believe there's a space for being real. Like, you know what I mean? Some people live in the cloud, some people don't.
But real and negative are 2 different things. And that's really what it is for me.
And I think she skews negative, and I think you put this rainy cloud with this man who is like, you know, really, for whatever reason, Michael has leaned into seeing things positively. That could be a trauma response from something that's happened to him. He's had to go through. For most of us, it is. You know what I mean? But him skewing positive to her, I think she sees it as disingenuous, where he sees it as, this is his coping mechanism. I have to see things positively, or else what?
Yeah, she tried to paint that as him being a people pleaser.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure there's
some part of that.
I'm sure that there is some truth to that about him, and I can see a little bit of that when I, saw his family and things talking about that. Like I can get that he has some of that to him, but a lot of it is probably him feeling like he has to bring a balance to this barrage of negativity.
Yes,
that
he
comes
working
out
overtime.
of her mouth 1,000%, and I give him extra kudos for being in a space where you are the positive injection in the atmosphere, and you're constantly pushing back on this dark cloud that hovers around your residence. That's her.
And her friends, for that matter.
And her friends. And on top of the negativity, it's the disingenuous side of it, where everything is this corporate Karen / resume interview answer. The answer to, well, tell us, one of the negative things about you. And they say, you know what? I just care too much.
Oh, my God.
You know what I mean? That's her in a nutshell.
What's one of the negative things about you?
I every time I've been asked that question in an interview.
Well, I'm asking you as like, go ahead. I'm not going to cut you off.
No, I'm saying every time I've been asked that question in an interview, I've had to come up with something out of the thin sky, like a kid who didn't read the book report. Because I'm in these interview spaces thinking I'm trying to put my best foot forward. You know what I mean? So I'm not about to show up here and spread my guts out all on the table. So you could be like, oh, well, he does this and he does that. I don't even like stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Unless it's in a therapeutic counseling session.
Okay.
Where we're doing couples therapy or something and we got to dig deep and you know what I mean? And I think it's beneficial for us as a couple for me to feel like, you know what, I can work better at, words of affirmation.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel a certain way about you and I don't say it and I don't know why that is. So let's dig deeper. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's a thing of mine. You know what I mean? That's not something I would just lead with. Just out in the open. You know what I mean?
1,000%.
That's what I mean. Like, that's weird to me.
1,000%. So let me tell you what I think is weird, y'all. I think it's odd that she's armed with the knowledge that he's been left at the altar before, right? And then she comes back from the honeymoon and the first thing she wants to do is turn around and leave him again.
Oh, and she does.
And does not. And I think there's everybody could say like, well, she needed time. Y'all, these places have 2 bedrooms. That's number one.
Yeah.
Number 2, it's with no regard for how that would make him feel. Like none. And I don't give a damn what she say. I don't give a damn, oh, well, I had to go home. We were just talking so much. I'm such an introvert. You such an introvert. You talking to yourself so much that you not used to other people talking to you about their feelings.
You such an introvert that you signed up to be on one of the biggest shows in reality TV right now today?
Come on.
You can't be that much of an introvert. Can't be. It trends every time it airs.
But not only does it trend every time it airs, you had to sit in a room with 100 other bitches that look just like you to get into the space. Y'all laughing, cackling. You had to laugh, cackle, smile. We are to believe that you was in these interviews being your introverted meek self.
1,000%.
We are to believe that.
And then you got to talk to the first level of producers, and then the second level of producers, and then the third level of producers before you get to the casting directors, and I'm talking from experience, the network, and then all of these. You can't be that introverted and go through this process and then make it to the end.
Why didn't you just say no?
Yeah.
I'm like exhausted by her, and I'm like exhausted because I think she thinks whatever she's doing is relatable. And really what it is emotionally exhausting.
Super.
And I feel like even for his friends to sit up there and say, well, sometimes he might not say how he feels about things and everything like that. I would argue that as much as Michael talks, if he was somebody he felt comfortable saying how he feels with, he would say it.
I agree.
He talks too goddamn much.
Yeah.
I would not believe that he would leave his feelings out of it.
Yeah. And I think the people pleaser in him is very vigilant about the energy in the room when he's speaking to her, to the point where he's snuffing out
his own feelings. Yeah. Precisely. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of how I feel about it as well. And I think that she doesn't even realize how her energy has kind of, I thought it was weird that his friends would even say that, as opposed to saying, first of all, who needs enemies with friends like those?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It was so uncalled for. I don't know why it was. Don't let him. They posed this stuff in this energy of don't let him get away with this.
Like, as opposed to saying, did you ask him how he actually felt about you leaving the house, specifically after he was left at the altar, how that might make him feel? it's like nobody's holding her accountable for this.
They aren't.
And I think it's weird because if you think you're going to get up in my face and I'm talking about my friend and I'm going to dog and he might not see it as dogging him out because he's going to see it as the positive.
Right.
But sometimes people be around you, y'all, and really hate how bright you are.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, they hate it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I kind of got that.
Yeah,
I didn't even like the way they responded to it. Like, are you kidding me?
I didn't, and it be on people like the way that they were talking to her about him was as if you got to watch him.
Like he's the problem.
He's not the problem here, y'all. Have you paid attention to this dynamic at all? I know you only been around her a handful of times, but he's clearly not the issue here at all.
Go ahead. What was you gonna say?
No, that was it. Yeah.
All this woman says is, you wouldn't believe how hard this process is. It's just
All the
so
time. This
hard.
is all the time.
And let me say this.
Who want to be with... go ahead.
No, you go ahead. No, you finish your
Because
thought.
what I was about to say is imagine, put yourself in his shoes. Imagine being with a partner where every time y'all go out, people ask about y'all because y'all new. So that's what happens. You know, we've been there, newlyweds. Somebody, hey, how's the newlywed life? And my response and her response is always, well, you know, it's hard. You know, I'm getting through it. I mean,
right.
Who knows what tomorrow's going to bring? Like, imagine think about how you would feel. I would be so like, you ain't got to go nowhere else with me.
Right.
If every time somebody asks you how y'all doing, it's doom and gloom.
First of all, you better stomp your feet and clap your hands about me.
1,000% in public all the time.
And I'm not great at that, but that's one of my things. That's one of my things I'm working on. I'd be like, you're all right.
And let me tell y'all, she ain't nowhere near Chloe. That's how bad she's nowhere near Chloe.
But I think that I too understand. The thing is that I understand some of Chloe's what feels like reservation, right? But I have done so much work, right, that I understand that I have about 15 seconds to get this bad thought out my brain. Mm-hmm. So sometimes me and Joe will be doing something and I'll just break out singing like, it's going to be a good day.
No, this is no BS.
I'm going to have a good day. I'm going to have a good day. And that's, no, really. And it's really because I'll be in my brain thinking, oh my God, I got like 4 or 5 meetings tomorrow. I got to speak in 3 of them. I'm not one of those people who like to talk that much, you know what I mean? Outside of talking my husband ear off, I don't really like to talk that much. So when I'm at work, I'm like, ugh, I get anxiety about it and stuff. But I'll literally I have control of this. You know what I mean? It's only going to be as good as I want it to be. Mm-hmm. And I think that she's lacking that. That's a lack of self-awareness. That's a lack of confidence. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you are the master of your destiny. Mm-hmm. And if it's going to be a good marriage, it's because you're a part of it. Mm-hmm. You're an active participant, and it is so clear that she wants him to be terrible.
Oh, yeah, she wants an excuse.
It's so clear she wants an excuse. And I just hope Michael does not give her one. I hope that, I really hope that she's the problem.
Well, she's showing she is.
And she is. And I think her friend even asking her like, well, sometimes it feels like he just say everything that's right or what. And it's sad.
That whole interaction just really was disgusting to me.
It was disgusting. And it was sad. And part of it is sad because we are now in a society that if you're with people, you know, who you are courting and they are emotionally intelligent or they're saying things to keep their light bright, it can, because he wants to communicate a certain way so that he's heard properly, so that you're heard properly, now he's the issue.
Yeah, that was weird. I mean, how they twisted that was almost masterful. I didn't see the conversation going that way.
Masterful.
And then they ended with like, somehow you got to watch him because
it's so clear to me that some of y'all are not used to being around good people. And that's really sad. You know what I mean? Because I'll argue I think I'm really good specifically nowadays about choosing my words, but that's because I used to be mean. You know what I mean? Like nasty, mean, matter of factly, and would not apologize. Like that's just really who I was. I said what I said. So then what? And not being that person any longer, I recognize how important it is to speak a certain way. You know what I mean? Like, it's so, so, so important. And, you know, a wise man once told me, like, you will be in a relationship for a long time, so long as you're loving to one, like, just be nice. Mm-hmm. You'll get anything you want. Be nice. You know what I mean? And I think that it's so clear that a lot of y'all have not been with nice people, loving people. And it could be that you're the problem. It could be, you know what I mean?
No, yeah, because I feel like some people almost reject good loving.
Yes.
And we've seen it in personal examples where we thinking, it ain't nothing wrong with this person. I mean, we'll listen and we're going to lison.
And we're going to listen. We're going to listen.
But then when you leave,
we're going to be doing math like the white woman. We're going to pull the board out. Like, we're going to be in their beautiful mind, baby.
This, so they did that, and y'all not together because of this?
Can we pause? Because I want to talk to you about something really quick.
Yeah.
I saw this TikTok, and I really hope I can find it. But this guy says, how come y'all will date studs who are under 6 feet and don't make $100,000, right? And this woman who is a stud answers. I mean, she identifies as a stud. So I want to say that because I don't know if that's a good word or not.
Yes, but yes.
For this, it's appropriate. And she was saying that the problem is, and this was a man asking this to women, and she was like just saying like the problem is that, and this is such a tangent, so sorry guys, that y'all don't date women on your level. You're not the man that makes $100K, but you're looking at the baddest of bitches where that's expected. Like you can't be expecting these things from people, right? And inversely, women are having a hard time finding spouses. She was like, the real tea is that women don't even know what it's like because they've been reduced to their looks for so long. They don't even know what it's like to have somebody actually like them. And I thought that was such a deep point because now they are reducing everything to money, this, da-da-da-da. Because they don't even know what it's like to have somebody like their personality any longer. Mm-hmm. So you've reduced things to looks. I've reduced things to money cyclically. And then we're having a hard time meeting in the middle. And I know this is such a tangent, so much so I forgot where I started at. But the point I'm trying to make is that I thought it was such a fascinating point because I sometimes look at people and I think, and not to say that I really do think I've had really good relationships, like really nice men, whatever the case may be. But it's so clear to me that people have not ever been in a relationship, not ever had emotional intimacy with anyone. You know what I mean? Like it's so clear because sometimes the things that people ask for are so far-fetched.
Yeah.
That I'm like, you couldn't possibly have ever dated anyone.
And then it's even more mind-blowing when you see people who are being treated well, who are focused on the wrong shit.
Yeah.
And then lose out on those relationships or those opportunities to build long-lasting, loving relationships.
For the people out there listening, do you guys think that do you think you've ever fumbled the bag? Do you think you've ever fumbled the bag?
No, this is my bag right here. I'm sitting next to it.
You almost fumbled it though.
No, I didn't. Never was in doubt. What did Nick Wright say? Nick Wright, shout out to Nick Wright. Never in doubt.
In real life, y'all, have y'all ever experienced that feeling of like, damn, like maybe I wasn't ready, or you know what I mean? My mind wasn't right. I couldn't process something good happening to me. Have you guys ever experienced that? Like, I would love to know that. But let's move on. So we talked about Chloe and Michael, which I'm bored with. Lord Jesus. Also, one last thing about Chloe and Michael: never do a hip hop theme anything again.
Oh, please don't, y'all.
Cringe me out.
It was almost insulting, and I can probably guarantee that it was Michael's idea, but this is not the crowd.
It felt
Fake, like Chloe,
like blackface.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like to me. Last thing. Chloe says Michael being a de-escalator is great in the short term. Y'all, what do that mean?
Because you got to finish it. She said it's great in the short term, but not so great in the long term or something like that.
Right. So what does that mean?
It means she's a self-saboteur, and she's actively doing the things that she does to torpedo their relationship. That's all that was to me. She picks and chooses where she's gonna, roll around and throw a temper tantrum about. And when she can't find it, she makes it up out of thin air. So now him being a de-escalator is somehow a negative thing. When in no relationship is it ever negative.
It is never. I don't see. I was really trying to find a way, even with the people pleasing thing, like somebody has to de-escalate. She
wants to sabotage this relationship.
She just does, so much so that she don't even want a man who respect her enough not to be yelling at girls.
I mean, imagine. This whole thing blows my mind even when she's talking to her friends about it.
Yeah.
It's like they're just led by the stupidity. They get on board. Oh, yeah, you're right, girl. So maybe you should watch out for that. Watch out for what? Him being a de-escalator and all. Like, how did we get here?
Y'all are so used to men talking mean and nasty to y'all. Y'all expect. Like, it's sad to me.
It's something wrong with him.
Somebody has to de-escalate, and that's not even like...
But this, to me, is also more of how people handle not being attracted to the person that they were paired with.
Oh, they just pull stuff out.
They pull stuff out of thin air to save face because they don't want to be torn apart in the comments about how they truly feel. And this is Chloe again. Chloe was never attracted to Michael from day one. And so now he's a people pleaser. That's a problem. He's a de-escalator. That's a problem. Everything is going to be a problem so that when they get to decision day, they have references to point to as to why they said no.
Justice for Michael. Free him. I would talk about Claire and Cameron.
It's nothing to talk about. Claire came and he went to sit down with Brennan, I think it was. And
Claire said
basically said everything we was thinking. Claire is out here running amok, acting a fool.
Acting like she's so concerned.
Like we had a real relationship, like we still in relationship, and we're not. And so I think that's weird. But the only thing that I couldn't get with him on is when he said, well, if she said yes on decision day, I would say yes too.
I'm going to tell you why I can get with him on that. We're married. We're already married. So if you're saying yes, okay, let's take some time outside of the, scope or whatever of this whole incubator. Let's take some time, just us, and figure something out. I'm cool with that. We're already married. So we're at the finish line.
Here's the reason why I would be cool with that in any regular circumstance. The reason why I'm not in this situation is because I don't believe Claire.
I don't believe her for 1 second. I think she's a liar. And I think that she's manipulative. I think she sat in front of her mother, lied to her mother's goddamn face. I wish I would. You sat in front, and I know your mother knew you was lying. That's the weirdest part about it, except for she wants you to want to save face for you too.
1,000%.
But the truth is she know her baby. And she know, in truth, you're intense, you're annoying, you're rigid. You know what I mean? Like, she knows all these things. And you have low self-esteem, because the truth of the matter is you never really been in a relationship with anybody who had any emotional connection with you. That's why you don't even know how to give an emotional connection.
1,000%.
But
and so this is all the reasons why I would never agree with somebody who says I'm going to say yes if she says yes, because partly a large part of me would be thinking that 99.99999% of her is only saying yes for the cameras. She had ample opportunity before
She's
he went
only
into the hospital with this faux heart attack or whatever happened.
I can't.
She had ample opportunity to show up for him as a wife, and she neglected to.
This man could barely breathe. He in there,
and telling her, stay there, stay where you at. He obviously sees the forest through the trees and knows that this is not it for him. So that's why
even when he said she has had the opportunity to talk to everybody else about her feelings, and she's processing him being in the hospital, and the way he is receiving it is as if she's learning more about the relationship and how maybe she could have shown up and things like that, and he's just not there. But I would argue she's being manipulative and pretending like, oh my goodness, I just wish we could have worked it out, blah, 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 blah. So that when he goes and talks to people about it, it's like, well, Claire called me. He can never say that Claire didn't reach out, Claire didn't do this. She's really saving face. She don't give a damn. I don't know where they got this Freddie Friday night looking asshole from. Okay? I don't know. Like, I really don't know. But they need to send her back to the Chuck E. Cheese so she can haunt the children. We are bored with it. Absolutely bored. I really find her to be vile. And I hate when I gotta get on these girls because I'm really, y'all know, I'm a part of the She Woman Man Haters Club. Claire is, scum.
I think that he had a point. I think his synopsis of what's happening was spot on. Like most things in a relationship, he's the emotionally mature one.
It's not up for debate.
So he was always like very...
But she's the therapist.
Right. But he was always like very tapped in and in tune with what was happening in a relationship. Whenever you hear him describe them in a moment in time, it's super accurate. His depiction of what's happening while he's in the hospital is accurate. A lot of times, we as human beings fantasize relationships the further we get away from them. We see it in other areas of life. To dumb it down a little bit, a lot of people have pointed it out in the whole Jordan LeBron debate, right? Where when the further another year goes by that Jordan has been retired, the myth of the man grows. There's more yeast added. The longer we get away from that 96 team, it goes from 96. They were great, right? It goes from they were great to they never lost a game ever to Jordan never had to sleep to it just constantly the yeast just constantly grows and grows.
You can say anything,
right? To the point now where now his teammates are now coming up doing a truth tour. It's not even a book tour. The tour is literally called No BS because they felt like the longer we got away from this, the more y'all just added some BS onto this.
Right.
And now we got to start telling the truth because now he's a god who's never made a mistake.
He didn't make every point in the game, y'all.
Right. I'm saying that to say we do this in relationships a lot as humans. We get farther and farther from relationship and the negative parts start to wash away and we start to add a little bit of yeast to the positive parts. And so he's saying that because she's been out and in the world and about and around these other couples and away from me, she's going through the natural process of inflating our relationship when in reality I'm still stuck in this thing because it really was just on pause for me.
Yeah.
And so I haven't really been talking to people and processing my feelings and trying to understand this where she has been. And now we're in a place in her mind that couldn't be farther from the truth.
Yes.
And I'm just sitting here like a man who just got out of prison. Like, oh, so the internet is here now? Like he's trying to play catch up to the storyline and she done laid it out to everybody.
And she is laying it
She's laying
out.
It thick too.
Oh, he's a wonderful guy. Like I love the person that he is.
Crying every time she says
it. I hate when people do that, y'all. I do believe that some people may be better off as friends, right? But I think once you make that decision, leave the motherfucker alone.
Yes, please.
Leave them alone. I think that in the short term, in the long term, we are better off as friends. In the short term, we're better off as nothing. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because the truth of the matter is you blocking your blessing. Mm-hmm. Like if you're not messing with them, don't mess with them.
Right.
Because it's manipulative. You know what I mean?
It is. And don't play with your food. Like just, you know what I mean?
Exactly. Talking about playing with the food, Brennan is a liar. he's a liar, and the truth ain't in him. And the truth of the matter is, him and Claire are different sides of the same coin. You have no intention of being with this woman outside of the however long, 2 months that you guys are on this process. No intention. And you're not going to get me to believe that you are there for her at all.
The problem is that she believes he's there for her.
But she's concussed.
She is concussed. She is.
She's concussed.
She is. And the big issue is that she believes that she's dug in on this. And so she's kind of made it easy and laid the foundation for him to just kind of coast by through this time. And in his mind, he's going to come out flawless.
That's what he's thinking.
Yeah, thanks to this tree, he thinks, he's going to come out flawless. And she's just making it easy for him. And at this point, all he has to do is cruise. It's nothing.
But he's not.
Effort. All you got it, because when she talk about him, she's talking about him in these glowing manners, and she's crying, and she's, I can't believe he's been the best, and all of this other things, and he's just, So we just gonna have to let them, paint this picture of where their relationship is, and maybe we get to decision day, and maybe they say yes. I don't know. But at this point, he on cruise control. He ain't got to do nothing.
She probably will say yes. A tree cracked her skull open. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be surprised if the baby said yes. The problem is that I want so much more for Emily. I just think they have so much potential. And I think that I don't know what's wrong with this man, or what he doesn't see. The problem is that we'll never get the truth because people are too worried about what that's going to look like.
Oh yeah, on TV.
And I get it. You know what I mean? We sitting here talking about people too, so I get how that can be received so much so that you don't even want to tell people. But and I've always been against that. Like, I've always been keep the same energy. Like, y'all want these people to be truthful and be real about it. Like, if they come out and say I can't do it or whatever, I'm on that side of, like, let them just go ahead about their business so they don't waste somebody's time and end up like Chloe. And I think we just got to keep the same energy on that. Because she's wasting I want to say something so mean, but y'all going to gather me in the comments. So I'm not going to say it. I'm going to say it to my husband.
No, say what you're going to say. Like, it's a safe space. You might as well.
I think that Chloe is a part of that population of women who say they want to get married, but they really don't. And I think that
they want a wedding, but they don't want to be married. Yeah,
I think that you get to the point. She said it herself. And I don't know how I got back to Chloe. You brought her name up. That's her. I just think that the hyper independence, the this to that, is obviously a symptom of society. We've all had to do as a woman. Most of us have had to do that, right? So I get it, but I think that I don't even think she really wants to be married. I really think that she thought she would be paired with somebody like a Cameron so she could shine in a relationship and get her Target and Walmart sponsorships. I truly believe that.
Yeah, she want that Lululemon contract.
And I don't know how good she gonna look in that, and I mean that with all due respect. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. Don't beat your girlfriend up. I'm sorry. I'm not body shaming. I'm sorry, Chloe. That was rude. That was rude. That was rude. It just fell out.
It is what it is.
But yeah, justice for Emily and justice for Michael. All the rest of y'all deserve what you got.
1,000%.
That's all we got. Ain't got no more. Check out our Love is Blind review as well, guys. Make sure you bust down. Subscribe to this channel. I am Zar Eleanor. This is my beautiful husband, Joseph. We want to know your thoughts and come back and join us again. Bye.